Hey folks, welcome back.
You know one thing people just love about Italian culture, Paul?
The Leaning Tower of Pisa. Why is it so crooked? Would it in fact fall if someone leans against it? Nobody knows, Jordan. That's half the fun.
Yes, but what people really love is the food.
Not really as interesting as the mystery of the Leaning Tower, Jordan, but okay.
Well, we sent our very own Brooke Kozlowski out into the streets of Little Italy to find out where exactly the locals get their Italian eats.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Little Italy News. My name's Brooke Kozlowski and here I am in the most beautiful city of Chicago. I'm about to depart on the search for the most authentic plate of spaghetti and meatballs Little Italy has to offer. Come along with me and we'll see what we can find. Here we are in the authentic village of Little Italy. Let's take a look around and see exactly how authentic it is. Where the heck are all the Italians? You have like a menu? Thank you. Does he have like spaghetti at all? No spaghetti. I wanted to go find some spaghetti. Where would I go? Okay, so I probably won't find any Italian cuisine around here at all.
Oh, that's not, maybe not.
What neighborhood exactly are we in?
I think, well, this is kind of University Village now.
We're in the South Loop / UIC area.
Have you heard anything about Little Italy? Are we in Little Italy right now?
I would say not so much.
No, that's actually probably off of Taylor Street.
Soft noodle.
Is that kind of?
Looks like spaghetti noodle.
Okay, so it looks like spaghetti noodles. Well, it doesn't taste like it though. It doesn't taste like spaghetti. Here's a Little Italy resident now. Let's go see what she has to say. Excuse me, ma'am. Do you know where I can find any authentic Italian cuisine? Exactly. I didn't think so.
Since when have you not been able to get spaghetti at Chinese restaurants? I mean, what's the world coming to when...
I think it's always been that way, Paul.
No, I remember the days when you could walk right into an authentic Chinese restaurant and order some pasta. You know, the ones with indoor vines on lattice, bottles of wine, and...
You're thinking of an Italian restaurant.
No, you know, those real Chinese restaurants with big wax candles on the table and those red, white, and green flags hanging on the walls.
Yep, that's an Italian restaurant.
You say tomato, I say Chinese restaurant, Jordan.
Anyways, Paul, do you know how Little Italy really started?
God?
Not quite. A big factor that helped make Little Italy the cultural center it once was is the Hull House. We were lucky enough to pick the brain of one local educator at the Hull House Museum. Let's take a look.
Founded by Jane Addams and Ellen Gates Starr, Jane Addams' Hull House was the nation's largest settlement house. Its main purpose was to provide social and educational opportunities for working-class people in Chicago, many of whom were recent European immigrants.
1889, they start the Hull House. The question then becomes, okay, we've started this place, what do we now do with it? Who uses it? And the first people to use it were actually kind of curious neighborhood children. Ultimately, what it boils down to is like education. The Hull House was here to help to educate the people in the surrounding neighborhood, large majority of which were Italians. You had Ellen Gates Starr with the context, Jane Addams with the money, come together. They're able to make this kind of dream a reality. They were able to do it themselves, which I think in a lot of ways influenced how the Hull House was run. In '61, the site of like Harrison and Halsted was proposed as a possible site of the University of Illinois at Chicago, and ultimately was accepted, and it was fought by like neighborhood residents and whatnot, but ultimately it was decided that like, yeah, the city could do that. And so in '63, that's when kind of the deal went down, and the neighborhood was kind of totally changed. So that's kind of how it came to be. The Hull House, the university did agree to like save 2 buildings. And that's what the museum is. When it was rebuilt, I think because it was being rebuilt as a university. So I don't think the focus for them, it wasn't to like, oh, let's rebuild this and make it look like it used to look. I think the idea was, let's get rid of this. This place is like, you know, this isn't what we want this section of the city to be like. That area at one time was Little Italy, but it's not really. It's not really anymore. Like all the Italians that were there were displaced.
That Jane Addams sure was a swell gal.
Sure she was. You know, it's amazing how what only a few people can create that can really end up helping a community.
It is, just like Big Dog the Bounty Hunter and his crew, cleaning up the streets one dirtbag at a time, with those big, bulging muscles and that breathtaking mullet. He's kind of a modern-day Jane Addams if you really think about it.
Right. So, Paul, have you ever wished that there was somewhere where all the Italian athletes in America could be honored in one place?
Oh, God, no. That sounds absolutely awful.
Well, Paul, a lot of people think it would be just a wonderful idea. And that's what the people over at the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame did. We have an exclusive report.
While searching Little Italy for, well, something Italian, I discovered the Italian Sports Hall of Fame. I figured it was safe to assume that it was Italian. The purpose of the hall is to preserve Italian Americans in sports.
It's really to hold those memories. And you can see in the hall, you know, we have all this memorabilia here, and when people come in, it's kind of nostalgic for them because they can look back at maybe an old game they watched with their parents, or a game they've gone to with their father. They've seen like Joe DiMaggio play, and it just brings back memories, and it keeps the memories of these players around.
The hall was founded by George Randazzo in 1977. The hall didn't start off featuring all Italian American sports. When it opened in 1977, it featured only Italian American boxers. Over time, the popularity of the hall grew, and Randazzo was encouraged to expand the hall to include all Italian Americans in sports.
The people that come in here to visit the museum, we have anyone from the athletes themselves. Tommy Lasorda is here every time he's in Chicago. We get people who are very proud of their Italian heritage to come in. But it's really nice because it doesn't matter if you're Italian. There's 2 sides to it. If you're a sports fan, you are a sports fan. And you have memories of these guys and girls in here, and you want to come in and relive it. That's what continues to bring people back.
Since Little Italy is changing all the time, and it seems like it's becoming less and less Italian, some wonder if this is still the proper home for the museum.
I think it's still here. Well, I think it needs to be here. If you take it away, I mean, what do you really have left of Little Italy? You only have a name. We're a staple in the community now. I just don't ever see us leaving.
Well, what do you know? Italians can play sports.
Of course, why wouldn't they?
I just always figured their big mustaches and chef hats would get in the way. Plus, they have to make all those SpaghettiOs. I mean, there are a lot of SpaghettiOs out there, Jordan.
That's Chef Boyardee. All Italians are not Chef Boyardee. And you know what? I think it's offensive that you would even imagine that all Italians are Chef Boyardee.
Calm down, Jordan. It's an honest mistake.
No, it's not an honest mistake. It's an idiot's mistake. You are an idiot. I don't know how you got this job in the first place. I mean, I went to Yale for 4 years and then got my graduate degree at Harvard Law. And look what I'm reduced to dealing with. When I think of all the times that you have...
Okay, let's get to the next story.
No, no. You know what? I am done with this. I am done.
Now we're going to, line? Anyone?